Hey guys, Caleb here, back again with more Red Knot, and this time we're actually going to be doing something a little different, even though it's Christmas. We are going to read R.L. Stine's Ghost of Fear Street. Fright. Christmas. Yeah, you thought I was done with R.L. Stine? Huh. I have a couple of Fear Street books, which I'll get to eventually, around October. And then we'll be moving on to other things. This Christmas carol will scare the dickens out of you. I really hope he doesn't write these little blurbs himself, because this is sad. The cover's alright. It's Christmassy with its red and purples and ghosts coming out of the chimney. Pretty neat looking ghost thing, I will say. It's like the Grim Reaper if he was see-through. He better watch out. Santa is watching Kenny Foibster this year, watching him do rotten, nasty things. Kenny's the biggest bully in Shadyside, and he's out to ruin everyone's holiday. Until he gets himself trapped in a closet in Dalby's department store on Christmas Eve. Then when Kenny finally gets out, the store is locked, deserted, and Kenny is alone until the three most frightening ghosts of Fear Street arrive to wish Kenny a scary Christmas. Chapter 1. Kenny, look! My little sister's face lit up with a big smile. She held up a ballerina doll for me to see. Isn't she beautiful? She sighed. This is the one I want for Christmas. My mom took Christy to see the ballet Sleeping Beauty last month. Now that's all she talks about, all day long. Ballerinas, ballerinas, ballerinas. Are you sure this is the one you want? I asked her. Christy's head bobbed up and down. Oh, yes, she said. Let's see if she can twirl. I took the doll from Christy and spun her around on her head. Kenny, stop! You're ruining her hair, Christy wailed. The doll spun to a stop. She fell flat on her back and her eyelids jammed shut. Look, Christy, she is the one you want, I exclaimed. She can be Sleeping Beauty. I tossed the doll on a shelf. Kenny, give her back to me. Christy brushed her short blonde curls from her face. I have to show her to Santa, so he'll know what to bring me for Christmas. Christmas. That's why I was stuck here, in the middle of Delby's department store on Christmas Eve, in the toy department, with Santa and his dumb elves and my 6-year-old sister Christy. It's not that I have anything against Christmas. I mean, I like the presents. It's all the peace on earth stuff I hate. Because you're a fucking asshole. I think Christmas Eve is the best night of the year. It's when I sneak into our neighbors' yards and unscrew all the light bulbs on the Christmas trees. Because I'm an asshole. Christy tugged on my sleeve. Come on, Kenny. We have to get in line to meet Santa. I have to sit on his lap and tell him what I want. Santa has to go back to the North Pole, I told her. We can't see him. He's not here anymore. Someone tapped me on the shoulder. Uh-oh. I hope it's not Mom. I hope she didn't hear me just lie to Christy. I'll be in it for big time. It wasn't Mom. It was worse. Timmy Samathers, a real nerd, and the shortest kid from my class at Shadyside Middle School. Can you write about anything but middle school, sir? Hi, Kenny. Timmy greeted me with his big goofy smile. Isn't this toy department awesome? I stared at him blankly for a second. Then I glanced down at him and said, Oh, Timmy, it's you. For a second I thought you were one of Santa's elves. Timmy's smile faded from his face. He hates when anyone mentions his height, so I do it as much as I can. Hi, Christy. Timmy turned to my sister. Did you tell Santa what you want for Christmas? He asked in his squeaky little voice. Christy shook her head. She peered down at her sneakers. Santa isn't here anymore. He had to go back to the North Pole, she whispered. Kenny said so. Then she glanced up at me, her lower lip trembled. I spotted a big fat tear slide out the corner of her eye and down her cheek. Hey, don't cry, Christy. Timmy smiled, his goofy smile again. Kenny made a mistake. Santa is sitting in his village right now. He won't leave until all the kids get a turn to talk to him. Christy's face turned beet red. She scrunched up her nose, her angry look. You lied to me, Kenny, she yelled. Take me to Santa's village right now. Bye, Kenny. Merry Christmas. Yes, thank you. That's what you get for being an asshole," Timmy shouted cheerfully as he strolled away from us. "Bye, Tiny, I mean Timmy," I called back. "Merry Christmas. If you don't take me right now, I'm telling Mom how you lied to me about Santa," Christy threatened. "Okay, we're going, come on," I groaned. I grabbed Christy's hand and tugged her toward the end of the toy department, to Santa's Village. Santa's Village, the stupidest place I ever saw. A big sign at the entrance said Santa's Street, filled with toys for all good little girls and boys. At each side of the entrance stood 2 tall wooden soldiers, big plastic structures painted to look like gingerbread houses, lined the street inside the entrance. They were dusted with fake snow. Icicles hung from the rooftops. We walked through a little white gate and stood in line with the other kids. I craned my neck to see up ahead. At the very end of Santa Street, I spotted the jolly fat man himself. He sat in a big gold sleigh decorated with thick red satin ribbons and big golden bells. A little boy sat on Santa's lap and whispered in the old guy's ear. "Ho, ho, ho!" Santa boomed. His voice sounded totally fake. Well, considering he's probably been there for fucking hours and really needs a pee break and maybe some beer, I don't know. I don't know how long these guys usually work. Boy, what a lame Santa. I can't believe these little kids don't catch on. They're children. They're going to miss some things. We were all like this. The line crept forward slowly. Santa's elves ran up and down Santa Street, ringing their annoying bells and handing out candy canes. They tried to make everyone sing Christmas carols with them. Christy sang along in her squeaky little voice, happily sucking on a candy cane. "How long until we get to the front, Kenny?" she asked between wicks of her candy cane. "I can't wait to see Santa." "How old are you now, Christy?" "I'm 6, Kenny, and you know it," she exclaimed. "Well, by the time you get to sit on Santa's lap, you'll be about 8, I told her. "Kenny!" Christy groaned. She turned and stared longingly at Santa. Her little blonde curls bounced around her face. Mom says my hair looked just like that when I was 6. Yuck. I'm glad I got normal hair now. Straight, regular brown hair. Isn't that usually how it works, though? Like, my brother has curly hair, and my hair is straight as a board. It's annoying. Well, I guess not too annoying, because if it was super wavy and curly at all times, it'd be a pain in the ass to brush. And I'm glad I'm really tall, not short like Tiny Timmy. Or these stupid elves. I thought as one tried to shove a candy cane into my hand. "Hey, Christy," I leaned over and whispered. "I bet I know something about Santa you don't know." "Leave me alone, Kenny," she sniffed. "But it's about Santa," I said. "It's a secret. It's really important." "You're going to be a dick and tell her Santa's not real." See, I don't get people who are like this, who are just dicks to be dicks. I never understood this. She turned her head and peered up at me through narrow eyes. I could tell I made her curious. "What about him?" she asked. "That guy up there is not the real Santa," I whispered. "He is too," she shot back. "Nope." I shook my head seriously. "He isn't." "He is," Christy insisted. Her eyes grew round and her lower lip quivered. "He is what?" "Uh-oh." "You're in trouble." As you rightly should be, because you are an asshole." "He is what?" Mom asked, coming up behind us. "Kenny says," Christy started to say, "one of the elves rang a golden bell. It's your turn, little girl." He smiled brightly at Christy. "Phew, saved by the bell." "Really? We're going to throw that pun in there, too?" Well, I guess it was a saying before it was a show, but still. I laughed to myself. The elf led Christy up to Santa's sleigh. 2 other elves hoisted her up onto Santa's lap. Christy's blue eyes sparkled, as bright as a Christmas tree lights. I never saw a little kid so happy. This was going to be great. Oh my God, are you fucking serious? You're going to ruin this. Why? My brother was a dick to me because we're 10 years apart, and so of course an 8-year-old is going to be very annoying to an 18-year-old. But I imagine if you're in middle school, you're, at least maybe 6 years apart? And you're seriously going to be a dick about this to her. I'm gonna say this right now. Sir, whatever happens to you, you deserve every little bit of it. Every single little bit. Which is why I figured this book was written, because everybody knows that one dude who always ruins Christmas, or any holiday, and this is your payback to getting this asshole back. I strolled up to the sleigh and stood behind my mother. She watched Christy smiling and waving. She never even noticed it if I disappeared. Ho ho ho, Santa bellowed as Christy settled on his lap. What's your name, little girl? I slipped through the crowd to the far end of the sleigh. I darted past a few elves and stood there, pretending to watch Christy. Christy Forbister? Christy replied happily. I live at 27 Fear Street. It's the fourth house on the left. It has blue shutters and 2 big chimneys and... That's okay, Christy. Santa will find it, he promised. And what would you like me to bring you for Christmas? I peered around. Everyone had their eyes glued to Santa. I dropped down to the floor and slipped under a sleigh. I slithered along the floor on my belly. Up above, I heard Christy chattering away. Christy and Santa sat directly overhead now. I stopped and crawled out behind the sleigh. The fur-trimmed edge of Santa's red jacket hung inches from my face. The fur tickled my nose. I sucked in a sneeze. But what I really want is a ballerina doll, Christy droned on. She's got blonde hair and pink tutu and satin toe shoes. And when you press a button on her back, perfect timing. I jumped up. Santa turned to face me, his fluffy white eyes arched in surprise. I reached out with both hands and grabbed Santa's big white beard and pulled with all my might. Hey, Santa shouted. He yanked his head back. Great, he's helping me. While Santa pulled his head one way, I tugged his beard the opposite way. Before you could say ho ho ho, Santa's hands flew up to hide his pale, bitter face. Oh, okay. I was really, really hoping they got a guy with a real beard. 'Cause that would have been fucking hilarious. But no, it's fake. Damn. Oh, this is chapter 2, by the way. He's a fake, I yelled out. I waved the long beard over my head for everyone to see. A big fake. Now do you believe me, Christy? Christy stood up in the sleigh and stared at me. Her mouth hung open in shock. You're so mean, Kenny, she wailed. Kenny, Mom cried. How could you do that? All along Santa Street, the little kids sobbed and whimpered. What happened to Santa? One little boy cried out. I want the real Santa, another one shrieked. The grown-ups tried to shush them up. The elves ran around frantically, ringing their bells and doling out handfuls of candy. It was a riot. What a riot! You rotten kid! Santa yelled at me. Now give me back the beard. He grabbed for the beard, but I snatched it out of his reach. He lost it. Okay, so here's what would happen now. Mall security would show up, escort you, your mother, and your little sister out of the mall, possibly banning you particularly from the mall forever. And, they might start saying your mother's neglectful of you and not responsible. And then that can snowball in you and your sister being taken away and sent to either other family members, or depending on if you have other family members that are willing to take care of an asshole like you, you'll be separated from your sister. And what family will you have then? Shit happens. You might think it's funny now, but this can turn into a real fiasco. He grabbed for the beard, but snatched it out of his reach. He lost his balance and nearly toppled out of the sleigh. When he sat up, he glared at me. I knew that look. He wanted to wring my neck. I stared at the beardless Santa. He looked really familiar. Joe, the custodian at Shadyside Middle School. Sure, it had to be. Hey, Joe, I laughed at him. How did you get to be Santa Claus? Because maybe he, likes helping out little kids and getting paid for it. You were always a rotten kid, Provister. I don't know how to say this last name, he groaned, and you always will be. Scowling, he grabbed his beard back from me. He pressed it to his cheeks, but it didn't stick. Come on, Joe, I chuckled. It was just a joke. Is anyone laughing, Kenny? He asked, how could anyone do that to these little children, a salesperson grumbled. He should be ashamed of himself, another man agreed. He's a dreadful boy, a tall woman muttered as she glared at me. No, not a boy, a monster. A quick-thinking elf stood up on the sleigh and called everyone to attention. Don't worry, folks, Santa's just fine. His beard is magic. You know, sometimes Santa has to take it off, so he won't be recognized. The little kids believed him. They whispered they wiped their eyes and stopped crying. Or, you know, you could just explain it like I did to a friend's little brother. Santa is a very busy guy. He's got to make gifts and stuff all year long. He can't really take the time away from the North Pole, so he has people that help him by doing all this stuff for him. And they make the lists out, and they send it to Santa, so that, you know, he gets everybody's wishes. And then, of course, I also said to make sure I covered all my bases. And the reason why they dress up like Santa is because, well, little kids wouldn't just randomly go up to some dude and start telling them their wishes. No, they expect Santa Claus. And that's what I told him, and then he believed that, I guess, until he didn't believe anymore. Behind the sleigh, another elf helped Joe glue his beard back in place. Now, if you'll just get back in line, boys and girls, the elf on the sleigh announced, you can tell Santa what you want for Christmas. Kenny! My mother's sharp, angry voice ran out from the other side of the sleigh. Come over here this instant. Christy grinned for the first time all night. I gulped. You should have known not to do this fucking shit in front of your mom. What the hell is wrong with you? Be there in a few minutes, Mom. I had to slip away, hide someplace, until Mom had time to cool off a little. Mom cools off pretty fast. But where could I go? I made my way around the back of the sleigh and spotted a door. A sign hung on it in big, bold red letters. It said, Danger, keep out, authorized personnel only. Talk about a lucky break. Aren't all these fucking adults watching you after your little fiasco? Why hasn't anyone actually come to escort you off stage? I'll duck in here for 10 minutes. Then when I come out, Mom will be in a hurry to get home. She won't have time to yell at me, at least not much. I could hear Santa greeting the crowd again from up on the sleigh. I glanced over at Mom. She and Christy were studying a display of ballerina dolls. Why would she instantly forget to come and get you? I'd march over there, pull you off the fucking thing myself, and beat the fucking shit out of you. The same thing with the salespeople. They wouldn't beat... Well, they couldn't, because then, you know, she could have sued them for, like, abuse of her child or some bullshit. But, yeah. Nobody else was looking at me either. Great, a perfect time for my escape. I tiptoed over to the door. I turned the doorknob. Yes, it was my lucky break. The door wasn't locked. I quietly slipped inside the small room. I quickly pulled the door closed behind me and gasped. What a room! Floor-to-ceiling computers filled each wall with hundreds of switches and buttons. Every inch of wall space was covered with them, switches, buttons, levers, and dials, all lit with tiny lights in a zillion different colors. Glowing and blinking lights, brighter and better than any Christmas tree I'd ever seen. I heard a low hum coming from all directions, and through the soles of my sneakers I felt the floor softly vibrate. Wow! This is like the space capsule simulator ride at Astroland, only this was better. And here I was in the middle of it all, by myself. I was in complete control, but of what? I wondered. What do all these switches do? I peered closely at the switches. I searched for writing underneath them, some sign of what they did. Nothing. Well, there was only one way to find out. My fingertips tingled with anticipation. Santa's beard? Kid stuff. Merry Christmas, everyone, I thought with glee. Get ready for some real excitement. I slowly reached out my hand to a big red switch in the middle of the control board. I grasped it between my fingers and flipped it. I waited and waited and listened to the shoppers' voices outside the door, listened for their shrieks as the lights went out or the sprinkler system went on. Something. No cries of surprise. Nothing. I sighed and flipped the big blue switch right next to the red one. Bam! I jumped. The door locked with the sound of a heavy bolt. I flipped the blue switch again. I listened for the bolt slide open. It didn't. I was trapped. That's what you get for being a fucking dumbass, asshole. Chapter 3. I grabbed the doorknob and turned it. The door remained locked. I jingled the knob, tugged on the door again. It didn't budge. It was bolted shut from the outside. A small wave of panic rose up inside me. Well, this is what you get, Dick. This is what I was talking about. Whatever happens to you is exactly what you deserve. A small wave of panic rose up inside me. I stared around the room. The lights seemed to blink more wildly. The humming sound seemed to grow louder. Relax, Kenny, I told myself. If you bang on the door, somebody will hear you and let you out. I listened. I heard only the low hum of the control panels. Hey, could someone open this door? I shouted. I'm stuck in here. No one answered me. Hey, I'm stuck in here, I yelled, pounding my fist on the door. Somebody open up. No one came to the door. With all the people out there, why didn't anyone hear me? I'm a kid trapped in this closet, I yelled loud as I could. Help me, somebody. Get me out of here. I banged on the door with my hands. I kicked it hard with my feet. There, somebody had to hear that. Silence. An uneasy feeling crept into the pit of my stomach. I stood back from the door and took a deep breath. Then I took a running leap at it, throwing my shoulder against it hard. Nothing. I banged on the door until my knuckles hurt. Still nothing. Where is everyone? I glanced at my glow-in-the-dark watch, because you happen to have a glow-in-the-dark one even though there's lights in the room. 8:15. Dalby's closes at 8. Did everyone go home? How could that be? How could everyone have gone home and left me in here? Because they don't fucking know where you are, dipshit. Your mom probably thinks you snuck out and left when she wasn't looking. Which why she wasn't looking in the first place, I don't fucking know. How could everyone have gone home and left me in here? My mom must have told someone I was missing. Why weren't they looking for me? My hands began to sweat. I had to get out of this place. But how? I wiped my sweaty palms on my pants and checked my watch again. 8:20. It wasn't that late. There had to be someone in the store, a manager, a security guard locking up, one of Santa's stupid elves, someone. Oh, I get it. They know I'm in here, I realized. They're trying to teach me a lesson or something dumb like that. Come on, you guys, I yelled. Please let me out of here, now. No reply. I grabbed the doorknob and pulled it with my strength. Help! I screamed. Help! I twisted the knob, then I pulled again, as hard as I could. Let me out of here, I shouted. No one answered my calls. I backed away from the door, wondering what to do next. That's when I heard the sizzling sounds. I gazed around the room. I couldn't tell what was making that noise. Then suddenly the hum in the room grew louder, and the floor began to vibrate. My legs shook hard. The humming grew louder. It filled the room now, shrill and strong. It seemed to come at me from every direction all at once. The floor quaked under my feet. I started to lose my balance, started to slam into the control panel, when the door swung open. Well, I'd say give this a read. If nothing else, to hopefully see this guy get his ass handed to him. That would be amazing. But, I like it right now. The guy is 100% douche, so I have no complaints because basically this is going to be a Christmas Carol. This Kenny guy is a dick, and he's going to have 3 ghosts that turn him into not a dick. That's basically the plot of A Christmas Carol. Scrooge is a dick, and then he has a visit from 3 ghosts, which make him not a dick. Happy ever after. So, I'm Caleb, and this has been Red Knot. Thank you for listening. Bye!